Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome in another edition here of Mean Streets, powered by FTN, right here on Game Plus Network. Chris Meaney here with you. Thanks as always for taking the time to hang out here. If you're hanging out live here on a Tuesday, welcome in on our FTN YouTube page. Any questions, please leave them there in the YouTube section. We can address them on the show. If there's any NHL questions, some waiver wire stuff, don't get to it on the show. I will always circle back on our YouTube page and take care of you. If you have any questions at all, something you'd like to see on the show, something you wouldn't like to see on this show, I am all ears. I am here for you guys, trying to make this show as best as possible. Looking at some creative ways to try to have some fun, maybe some trivia, maybe give away some packages. I really want this show to be about you guys. Also available on iTunes and Spotify a little bit later on after it airs on Game Plus Network as well, for you to maybe just listen to the show. You don't want to see my mug all the time. You just want to listen to some of the analysis here on Mean Streets. We appreciate you hanging out as always. As always, a lot to talk about here on this show. We have our guys Tino and George here hanging out with us. Tino is going to drop by in a little bit. His Nets, my Mavs this evening. Maybe we have to have a little bit of a discussion. We will talk about last night's football game as well. Maybe hit the waiver wire. There's not a whole lot, but if you do have any waiver wire questions, by all means, leave them there in the YouTube section. Smash that like button. You're watching the replay here, FTN Bets or FTNFantasy.com. Like I said, I'll always circle back if I don't get to the questions here on this show. A busy night in the NHL. There's 10 games on the ice. Got some picks, some props. I have some assist and point props for you. I've been really just getting involved with these over the past couple of days, and I'm finding I'm having some success. And there's really great odds. Like, dudes have been getting assists. Like, for example, Mikael Granlund. He's got 21 assists on the season, the third most in the NHL. He's plus money to have an assist tonight. Plus money. I know assists are really tough, but I'm targeting lines in good spots that have been really good, like trios of lines that have just been solid and could fall into assists. Obviously, they're not always going to hit. I know Bet365 doesn't have assist props. They have power play props, but those north of the border, Bodog, Sports Interaction, they do. But DraftKings, I'm seeing a lot of value for assist props. So we'll break that down as well. NHL picks. George checks in. Chris, Habs money line tonight. You know, that's no chance. No chance. Absolutely no chance. Habs money line tonight. I said it 3 times, so maybe they will win, but we got some NHL picks in a little bit. Off the top of the show, I got to give some love to John Kelly. John Kelly, bang. Holy crap. What? $387,000 last night, dude. Banked. Congrats to John Kelly. He does a lot of great stuff for us over at FTN, MMA, some boxing stuff. I know he's obviously a big football guy as well, clearly. He turned his $40 into almost $500,000 last night. Look at this lineup here. Damian Harris in there as the captain. Broke a big run yesterday. Could have been even bigger, I guess, of a day for him if he didn't hurt his hamstring. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Ramondre Stevenson in there. Looks like he had Gabriel Davis, who had a touchdown, and the Pats defense. Congratulations, John Kelly. Fantastic stuff, dude. Man, couldn't have happened to a better guy, honestly. It's really, really good stuff from you. And you know what? I've been talking about our FTN Daily Optimizer. It's absolutely lit. It's fantastic. We've seen guys have success in the Discord channel, and not just the NFL, but in the NBA. The Optimizer available over at FTNDaily.com. If you're looking to be part of the FTN fam, DFS, if your season long is dead, unfortunately, I have a couple lineups too. You're not alone. It's been a crazy year. It's a tough year. One more week left in fantasy football regular season before we turn the page to playoff time, where really it will be all about matchups, and we will dive into those matchups and try to help you win a fantasy football championship on this show. But if you want to be part of the FTN family, we have the Dfs Nfl Package, which includes the player projections from Kyle Murray. We have the NFL Optimizer. We have all kinds of articles, content, premium Discord channel. It's all there for you. FTNDaily.com/pricing, $99.99 for the rest of the month. You can use that promo code FTNTV. Save yourself a little bit of cash. And if you're looking to be part of just the FTN Gold Package, which includes the NHL, esports, tennis, soccer, NASCAR, and the college sports, that's $39.99 per month. month. Again, FTN TV will save yourself a little bit of cash. Also, Tino, we have the betting package board, which we always kind of bring up here. FTN, there we go. Giddy up, $49.99 per month. All sports, all picks, pushing 100 units in the NHL. College basketball, guys are pushing 100 units there as well. NFL picks, NBA picks, dudes are hot. We're here to help you guys win some cash, talk bankroll management. We have the premium Discord channel in there to help you out as well. Exclusive tools and all that good stuff over at ftnbets.com/pricing. So yesterday, from an NHL standpoint, I could probably recap it a little bit later on, but not great. I'm looking to bounce back here today. We did get like a Trevor Zegras shot prop. Dougie Hamilton. I gave Dougie Hamilton for the first time on this show for 4 shots. He had 0 shots. Like, thanks, Dougie Hamilton. He had the best possible matchup against the Sens. Tino was at the game, rooting for a couple Devils goals, drinking his Labatt Blues. I got a pic of him actually drinking Labatt Blues at the game last night. He had to have had a time, but his Devils lost, and we didn't get the over there, and we didn't get Dougie Hamilton shot to throw Josh Norris for like a long time, like a long shot prop. I didn't have him on the board, but I liked him quite a bit, and he didn't do anything. He put up a goose egg too, so we're looking to bounce back here. The usual suspects hit, right? Connor Garland hit. He's been on a heater. He hit. I think there was somebody else who hit for us too that we got pretty easy early on in the game. Oh, maybe Nathan McKinnon. He had like 7 or 8 shots, but not a great day from a shot prop standpoint. We did get the Pens on the money line, but we're looking to bounce back here on this show. And I think I got a couple winners here for you. Some NHL picks, some shot props, and some assist and point props as well. But we will talk about last night's football game. Take a look at the AFC playoff picture now. Kind of hit the waiver wire. Look at maybe some options that could help you out, because there are a few teams here on bye at the worst possible time, right? It really is 1 week before playoff time. You don't even have Jonathan Taylor. He's carried you all this year, and you didn't have Jonathan Taylor this week. Hopefully, if you have him, you're fine, and you're going to make the playoffs. But we're going to talk about last night's game, recap what we had right and wrong from yesterday's game as well, and talk a lot, I think, about these New England Patriots. And are the Buffalo Bills in trouble? Tino's in here next. We're going to talk about that game, look at the playoff picture. Mean Streets continues here on Game Plus Network. Keep her locked.
We'll get right into it. Yeah. Five.
All right, welcome back here on Mean Streets. Chris Meaney and Tino Rodriguez has been super busy here this morning, dude. You produced the show Dangle Bets Selly with myself, Eric Young, earlier. Had a little Bets TV action with Jake Seeley. Now you're appearing here on the show. We got Jill Galan over at Bets TV a little bit later on as well. It's a busy Tuesday, so I appreciate you dropping by here today. Anything exciting over on All in Football with Jake Seeley today? What's he saying over there?
Well, it's interesting. Well, he had some giveaways. He had some nice giveaways, which is always exciting. It's something we're trying to do over in, on Mean Streets here. Yeah, who doesn't like free stuff, right? And listen, this wouldn't be a Mean Streets and a busy day without some audio issues. So, of course, you could hear me doing a countdown through the break here. And I know maybe the people over at Game Plus Network can't hear us, but I know the people at Anthem can hear us. And I know you heard me, but it's okay. It's better than the echo. I'm happy to be here, though. Hectic, chaos, but it's grounded. It's grounded chaos. And, that's what matters.
You could catch All in Football tonight on Game Plus Network as well. I believe 8 Eastern with Jake Seeley. And tomorrow he'll be on with Jeff Ratcliffe, who is still the #1 ranker in the business. All of his rankings and his projections over at FTN. Dude is absolutely crushing it. He's got the parlay prop tracker in there that can help you, like a prop model can help you. With his projections are so on point that we've talked about it a lot on this show. If you're looking to dabble into some props, whether it's prize picks or whatnot, they got some super soft lines over there. You could just take Ratcliffe's projections, line them up with whatever book or wherever you like to play and make some prop bets, and you can find an edge for sure. I got to ask you about the game last night.
Yep.
George says, I'm offended that Tino is not enjoying an ice cold bat right now. And you said there wasn't enough Labatt to get you through that hockey game last night. I know you're not a huge hockey fan. I thought you were going to go to a game which, I thought you were going to see some fireworks, some goals. Man, the Devils, they hardly generated anything last night, and the Sens have just been giving up the most rubber in the NHL, man. What did you see last night? Anything that kind of caught your eye? Anyone stand out? Like, I know names are probably not crazy to you, but did anyone ooh, that guy's pretty good? Maybe Jack Hughes? I don't know.
I saw you throw some Jack Hughes propaganda out on Twitter before I went to that game. I don't know who you compared him to, but I was like, all right, let me see what the hype's about. I was underwhelmed. Well, so it was 2-2 early in the second, and we had the over at 6.5, so I felt pretty good about it. I had a good feeling that game was going to OT, but I figured if we could get one from each side in the third period, we'd be all right. No goals in the third. Very underwhelming. Mind you, they scored seconds apart from each other in the second. So, yeah, it went from looking really good to no one shot the puck. There's no other way to put it. I know nothing about hockey. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, there are opportunities, and they're just not shooting. I can see why Ottawa gives up the most shots because they don't really play defense. You want to know what is the most surprising, though, Meaney? No penalties or really fights. I thought there would be more stoppages. Pretty quick game. I don't know if hockey is supposed to go that fast. I mean, three long periods there. Game went relatively quickly. I got home by like 10:30, 11, so not too bad.
I think that's probably it. Yeah, no penalties really, so not a lot of stoppage and no goals. So yeah, it did seem like you picked a little bit of a stinker. I was just kind of poking the Jack Hughes fan base last night with that tweet a little bit. I mean, he's fresh off an 8-year, $8 million contract extension, which he may live up to. He's still fairly young, but I don't know, man. Like, the guy hasn't really done anything in the NHL. He's a former first overall pick, so I understand the hype. He's definitely has some skill and some upside, but I don't know. I don't think that you should just be handing out like these contracts before they actually do anything. I thought that they would have learned their lesson with Nico Hischier, who's a top pick, played for the Halifax Mooseheads. I saw him live a couple times out here, a few times, but he's not really living up to that contract either. It's $7+ million, but he's still young. The Devils are on the rise, but I still think that they're a little overhyped, and Hughes might be one of those guys.
I also learned something about hockey. I was trying to figure out substitutions and line changes. I only really know line changes when it all happens at once, but Batherson actually scored his game-tying goal off like a one-man sub, like while they were on offense, and I got to see it firsthand because I was really trying to pay attention to that, and I was like, oh, wow, like that's the perks to it. Like, I get it now. Like, it's a change of pace. It's a different sport for me, man. It's a whole other world. So I like to see the strategy behind it.
And a shout out to Batherson, who played for the Valley Wildcats in the arena that I played in last night, my beer league. I'm playing beer league. He's playing in the show, but he's a big deal out here. He's a big deal. We like him quite a bit. So we root for Drake Batherson when he can get on the score sheet. We are fans of that here in the Valley. All right, last night. Let's talk about last night here. It kind of went how we thought, but for the most part, we do have to hold ourselves accountable for some things here. I got things written down here. So we got the under. We got the Pats. We got Harris yards. We got that early. He broke one of the house. We didn't get his rushing yards. We needed 2 more from him, and he got a carry in the second half. He towards the end of the first half, he hurt his hamstring, right?
Yards. We got the rushing yards. Didn't get the rushing attempts. We got the rushing yards on the one play. That was easy.
I mixed that up. Yeah, we did get the yards on the one play. But man, we would have got the attempts too. Just the way that the Bills were running, the way that they played the football game last night. But he needed 2 more carries, and he hurt his hamstring towards the end of the first. And then he didn't start in the first drive, and then he came on and had another nice run, and then just limped off to the side. I knew we weren't going to get that. But as these videos and started to surface of the weather, I just knew we were screwed with Cole Beasley and Stephon Diggs. We needed one more catch from Diggs. We probably should have got the Knox receiving yards. I mean, he dropped a couple balls. He certainly dropped one in the end zone. But nonetheless, we got to hold ourselves accountable for that. Later on in the day in the FTN Bet Tracker, put in no field goal over 47.5 yards. I was actually a little nervous because, we saw some bad kicks. But I saw some kicks. I saw an 80-yard kick in the warm-up. It just depends on what direction of the wind, but we got that one luckily. And then the Stevenson rushing yards and rushing attempts. As that game started to get, as we started to get closer to the game, Tino, I just thought that we were going to see exactly what we saw from the Pats. I didn't think maybe 3 passing attempts from Mac Jones, but I thought this was a masterpiece from Bill Belichick. He's now 19-3 in road games against the Bills. It's tied for the second most road wins against a single opponent by a head coach in NFL history. You want more stats? I got them. The Patriots defeated the Bills with 3 passing attempts. 3 passing attempts, the fewest by any team since the Bills in Week 3 of 1974. Wow. They had 2 passing attempts in that game. I thought this was a masterpiece by Bill Belichick. All the pressure was on Buffalo. It was in Buffalo. Listen, they went in there, didn't throw the football at all, and just ran the ball down the Bills' throats. I don't understand, man. Buffalo tried to do what they could to stop the run. They did okay inside the red zone, but man, what a deflating loss for the Bills. And now, like, where are they here heading into week 13? Like, what is happening?
Well, a few things to note there. They probably could have broke that record and 14. Only beaten them with 1 passing attempt. We talked about this in the green room before Dangle Batzelli. They didn't even need to throw those last 2 times, and they did it on the final drive that they had anyway. So there's that. You want to know what was interesting to me, too? You never see Bill Belichick really show emotion. And at the end of the game on that 4th down stop, he was, you saw how much that game meant. They were counted out. That's a huge win in Buffalo. They are now, and I've been banging the table and have talked it up. They are alone in first place right now in the AFC. It's kind of surreal what Belichick has been able to do. Kind of a troll job, but really just a masterclass of coaching. The defense showed up. They created pressure. And another thing is that you saw there were opportunities for Josh Allen when the pressure was in his face. They showed a couple times guys were running open, but the pressure was so much in his face, he put his head down and he couldn't see those guys running open. So I think Belichick got used to kind of how Josh Allen played, used that to his advantage. And, not even just a masterclass on offense. I just thought the defense just popped out for us. We knew this was one of the top defenses in the league, but I mean, yesterday was just without really turning the ball over either, right? I mean, just sound defense top to bottom.
Yeah, this is how things went yesterday. Mac Jones, 2 for 3, 19 yards. You're right. It kind of felt like a troll job because when they should have ran the ball late in the 4th, there was a couple throws from Mac Jones, and it was not like, it was 3rd and 12. So there was times last night in that game where they were 3rd and 12 and 3rd and 13. They're just like, whatever, we're just gonna run the ball. If we don't get it, we'll just punt it away and play like field possession here. Since 1978, the Patriots, the only team to attempt 1 pass in the first half of a game. Unbelievable. Again, it was crazy. So some of the statistics here from the game last night, Mac Jones, just mentioned him. Harris 10 for $111. Jakob Johnson, mentioned him yesterday. He just paves holes. It's such a beauty. Ramondre Stevenson, 24 attempts, 78 yards. So not super efficient, but he did have some really nice runs there. Brendan Bolden sprinkled in 4 runs for 28 yards. Nelson Aguilar had a rushing attempt. Kendrick Bourne had a rushing attempt. Jonnu Smith had a rushing attempt. Jonnu Smith had 1 catch for 12 yards. Brendan Bolden had 1 catch for 7 yards. On the Bills side of things, Josh Allen, 15 for 30. He had Diggs on a back shoulder fade. Man, I tell you, that Manning cast, it's just so fun to watch. It really is. And they had Joe Buck on late last night. Those 3 they had me in stitches, man. I was loving every minute of it. Eli was pissed at the whole Tyree helmet catch, like he didn't like the call. Thought it was a brutal call, and Buck made up for it last night, pumping his tires. But Peyton was just like, he just wasn't having anything from Josh Allen yesterday and the Bills coaching staff. There was really no designed runs. We mentioned the Josh Allen rushing yards here on this show. It wasn't on the card, but we liked it. But we didn't get that until super late. He had like a 30-yard run in the 4th quarter and then one towards the end of the game where he extended the drive. He had a first down run, I think like it was 7 yards. We barely got that, but I thought the Bills got out-coached. McDermott said after, let's not give Bill Belichick too much credit here, but I think we have to. If you're the Bills,
he say that?
What he did,
he said that?
He did.
Oh my gosh!
That we shouldn't be giving Bill Belichick too much credit. That it was kind of on them that they lost the game.
Well, I do think they lost the game. Well, because you got to give Belichick credit, but you got to look at it at both sides. They had 2 red zone drives at the end of the game. They come away with no points. I also thought it's interesting that the Patriots ran the ball on like 3rd and 19, right? And then kicked the field goal, I think going into the wind or going against the wind, whatever it was. They were able to convert their field goals. the Bills try to do the same thing on the first drive that they had in the red zone there in the fourth quarter, and he shanks like a 30-yarder, and that changed the entire perplexity of that fourth quarter. And it was wild. I mean, the Bills definitely kind of lost the end of that game more than the Patriots, I guess, kind of grab hold and won. But the Patriots didn't have to do anything special to win that game. Like, the Patriots won outright. There's no question. They dominated start to finish. But there is kind of two edges to that sword where I do think the Bills, fumbled the ball at the end there and kind of lost more than the Patriots won down the stretch. But that's worse. I think that's a more of a testament to the coaching staff, right? I mean, the Patriots kind of gave them what they wanted and they still couldn't do anything with it. So, wow, I'm surprised you made that comment. I didn't even see that.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
salty. That's salt.
Yeah. The entire dudes on defense are salty too at the reporters, right? Like, why couldn't you stop the run? I mean, they did okay inside the red zone, but when you know that they're just going to run and run and run, like, some adjustments need to be made. Maybe get another lineman in there instead of like defensive back. I don't know, do something to kind of mix that up. I mean, LD checks in here. Bills are one-dimensional. No running game, no legit RB. Josh Allen cannot be your leading rusher. Brutal. How many times have we talked about that on this show? For me personally, that's my biggest issue with Buffalo. They are one-dimensional. They need to have a run game. I can't take them seriously if they're not going to have a run game. The same thing last year in the playoffs. They ran the ball once, I think, in one of their playoff games. Was it against the Chiefs? They had one rushing attempt in the first half. It just, you can't win games like that. And they're playing a tough environment in Buffalo. Like, it's Bills fans are I'm in a chat this morning. Clearly, Buffalo is the closest team north of the border. There's a lot of people in Canada and Toronto fans people in Toronto that love the Bills. They want them to build a new stadium. Like, build a dome. That's what they want. They would be, like, guys, like, in 5 years, maybe you'll have a good running back and things will be different. But they're talking today like they're a dome team, and they hate that they play in Buffalo, man.
Well, it's why I banged the table now. Zach Moss didn't score a touchdown, but he was healthy and active. I was like, he has to be active this game. They don't have a choice. They don't have a running game. Like, it's unreal, and he's the only chance they have at a running game, and it's not very much. So, yeah, I don't know. I kind of see it as a Bills loss more than a Pats win, but you can't really say that. Like, the Patriots have earned this. And, good for Belichick, man. I like to see that emotion from him.
It's great, man. This last year was just a complete crapshoot for them, and now they're up at not only at the top of the NFC East in 1 year of a rebuild, but in the top of the AFC. You got the playoff picture. Let's update the playoff picture here. We got the Bills up at the top, 9-4. Here we go. Now they're on bye, and they'll come out of their bye, and they will play Buffalo again, right? No, they don't play, or they don't
Colts,
play Buffalo until week 16. So up at the top here. And then Buffalo and Tennessee, that would be a rematch of a game earlier in the season where it looked like, maybe if Josh Allen doesn't slip there in the sneak, it's a little bit different of a game. Cincinnati and Baltimore, and then the Chargers and the Chiefs. So things have shuffled around just a little bit. Yeah, Al D is checking in here with heat, man. He's hot here today. He's calling Frazier, Bills defensive coordinator, clueless. Runs a nickel defense while the Pats are running. I saw that too. I know. I see the same things. He says he's been to too many Bills playoff games during the Kelly era. They had the offensive weapons, but the running game with Thurman. Just saying, yeah, for sure, I agree. A couple years ago, this was a team that ran the football really well, but again, man, they need to have some sort of balance. So this week, Tino, they get Tampa Bay, who all they do is stop the run. They won't be able to show off the run defense because Bills aren't going to really run the ball.
Yeah.
What do you think of the early spread here? Tampa -3. Like, is this a bounce back for the Bills, or just like ride the Bucks here? I think, for me personally, I think the Bills have some issues.
I actually, full disclosure, I took the Bills 3.5 this morning.
Oh, that's not bad.
Well, so yeah, I'm taking the 3.5, thinking the Bills, it's kind of a must win for them, right? They're on the outside looking in right now. They are in the last spot of the AFC. So we might be talking about how the Bills might be replaced with the Colts in like a week or two here, right? I mean, how crazy is that? The Bills could be out of the playoff picture if they don't start winning some games. And again, we talked about how they have to play the Patriots again. So that could be another loss. So I took them plus the 3.5. Their strength is the Bucks' weakness. The Bucks secondary is not very good. And yeah, I don't know, man. The Bills are better than what they're showing right now. They really are. And I don't know what it is. I think it's a mixture of things. And honestly, if this whole thing falls out, I mean, I'm a Giant fan. People are pounding the table for Brian Dable. I don't know how this Bills team is going to look if they lose Brian Dable this offseason. I mean, think about it. He's kind of the one who unlocked Josh Allen and helped him become the guy that he is over the last 2 years. So a lot of storylines to follow. I think they're going to be fine. But looking at the playoff picture, the Bills should beat the Titans if they play in the first round. I feel fully confident in saying that as we speak.
Bring that back up. Bring that back up and talk through that. Yeah, so I agree with you.
Despite the struggles, I think the Bills will beat the Titans. And then really we could be looking at a three-peat rematch here with the Bills and the Pats. How crazy would that be in New England? I mean, I'm here for it. I got my popcorn ready. I think that would be great. I think that's something you want to see, a little divisional matchup in the postseason. And then I don't know how the bottom two will go, but I mean, obviously we'd love to see Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes, but I could see one of those 6 or 5s beating, one of the 3 or 4 seeds there. But I think the Chiefs are going to slowly creep up on these standings, and I think they might finish as a top 2, 3 seed here as we get down the stretch.
The Ravens are in trouble, right? I mean, they're losing guys. It's just been it started right away with the running backs with Dobbins and then Gus Edwards. And then heck, they even had like a 3rd or 4th string back in there too. Was it Justice Hill? I mean, he blew out his Achilles as well. And now they're missing corners. Humphrey's done for the season here. They got Cleveland in Cleveland this week. I mean, say what you want about the Browns. It's not going to be an easy game for them to go into Cleveland and win that game. There's no question. That's going to be a tough one. They only beat Cleveland by 6 points in week 12 on their own turf. Then they got the Packers. Then they got to go into Cincinnati and play the Bengals. They got smashed by the Bengals earlier in the season, 41-17. Mm-hmm. Then they have the Rams week 17. And then they have the Steelers week 18, a team they just lost to as well. So this is a team heading in the wrong direction. We'll take a quick break. We got some Super Bowl odds here as well. I like the comment here from George. Pats, Bucks, Super Bowl, Goodell's nightmare, but also those ratings, right? Like it would be pretty cool. I'm kind of sick of like the Brady and New England, but that would be must watch.
Well, right? Mac Jones would have to throw the ball more than 3 times in that game.
He would have to throw the football 3 times. The Bills lost to a team last night where the opposing quarterback threw the football 3 times. Once in the first half, twice in the final minutes of the game. My goodness, that cannot sit well with Bills Mafia. Should we check on our guy? Should we check on all our Bills fans here this morning? Adam Pfeiffer, I don't know how that guy's doing. He's probably not doing too well. Maybe we'll leave him alone. We'll take a quick break. We'll talk Super Bowl odds here next on Mean Streets. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back in. Chris Meaney, Tino Rodriguez here with you. Mean Streets on Game Plus Network. Thanks as always for taking the time to hang out here. Yeah, LD, I agree, dude. I'm seeing your comments here in between the break about the Bills. Until they draft a legit RB or acquire one through free agency, they won't be a Super Bowl contender. I do kind of agree with that comment. But do they not trust their running backs, Tino? Is that it? They don't even try to run the football. I don't think Zach Moss is as bad as a lot of people may come out to be. I know in college some of his numbers were great, yards after contact and stuff. He hasn't really shown us too much here in the NFL, but I don't know. I don't know what I probably signing one through free agency is not the way to go either. I mean, it's probably a team that needs to draft one and get it right. I guess they tried that with Zach Moss, like just somebody who won't. A rookie running back who won't eat up your contract, right? Won't eat up your salary cap, most likely, is what I'm going at.
I also think it goes a little further than just getting a running back. You also have to commit to it, right? I mean,
line too.
Well, you see, the Chiefs have the same problem though. Like, and that's the thing. The Bills were never going to beat the Chiefs in the postseason because they try to play their game, right? That's kind of where the NFL is going. Everyone wants to spread the ball out, get in gun, and that's all great. But football is a game won in the trenches, and something that we've gotten away from. And a lot of teams do it. And now you're seeing the good teams play defense and run the ball, right? The Patriots have always had that mantra, whether they had Tom Brady or didn't have Tom Brady. So, you can have a running back, but the thing is, they got to be willing to commit to Josh Allen going under center and kind of feasting off play action, which I think would help his game. I think it would give him more time. I think it would open some more things up. It would get the tight end more involved and Dawson Knox and get Stephon Diggs and some of these big play receivers downfield. But you can get a running back, you got to commit to it. So it'd have to be something they scheme up. And the Bills are just set to not be that team. They want Josh Allen to have the ball in his hands, air the ball out 30 to 40 times a game. And then when they do run, they want it to be when he's escaping the pocket, which, give him credit. It's worked over the last couple years, but teams have started to figure him out. And, the more Josh Allen has the ball in his hand, the more likely he is to turn it over. So, double-edged sword.
Yeah, for sure. And George, you're right. Zach Moss, what a complete bust. Yeah, he has been a bust. He's been a bust in fantasy. He's been a bust in real life draft. Yeah, and there's still a lot of Zach Moss truthers out there as well. And also, Jones and Allen were on the graphic last night. He's getting a kick out of that, right? Yep. Whoever George seems to put on the graphic seems to bust. But again, that was just the environment, dude. I think we give you a bit of a pass. The environment wasn't great. It was a run-heavy game. But again, I thought that was just like drop the mic, Bill Belichick. And you're right, man. I've never seen him. Have we ever seen Bill Belichick week 13 smile like that? Like there was more emotion from him than he won in Super Bowl.
And it's funny, it was like 2 seconds. We've seen so little from him that just getting that glimpse of a smile was like, oh my God, he's human. Like he's happy, he's loving this. And then he got right back down to business. He was yelling 2 plays later.
Let's look at the Super Bowl odds. I know he was ticked off at the refs immediately after that, right? Yeah. He went back into his own element there. All right, boom, Bucks plus 550. Kind of what we've been saying all along when this team was struggling, going through injuries. Take the cop out answer. We kind of like the Bucks and the Chiefs to go back. The Chiefs have been playing much better lately, and they've been winning games despite Patrick Mahomes probably in the worst stretch of his career. They're still finding ways to win football games. The Pats are now 7-1. I have no idea what they were heading into the season, but I'm probably guessing like 40-1. But here they are, 7-1 now atop the AFC. The Cardinals 7-1. The Packers plus 750. The Bills 11-1. The Rams 12-1. The Boys are 13-1. The Ravens are 16-1. The Chargers are 22-1. And then the Titans here, I think, getting a little bit of disrespect from Vegas at 25-1. They have beaten some really good teams, but as we just talked about in the last segment, they're a hard team to trust right now. Obviously Derrick Henry's away from the squad. A.J. Brown's on IR, and Julio Jones is designated to return from IR, but that doesn't really mean a whole lot because he hasn't given the Titans really anything. Any value on this board? Like, would you get involved with maybe the Rams at 12-1? Like, what do you think when you look at this board, or is it just the top of it that you like?
So we've mentioned it. So I do have a futures. I bought in at the Chiefs. I think when they were a little past 8-1, they might have been at 9-1. So I'm on the Chiefs. I think I have the Rams. Unfortunately, not at 12-1. So I'm gonna look further. You know who's not on that graphic? Getting some disrespect. The Bengals. They're at 35-1 over at DraftKings. I think probably if I was looking for any value, it's an AFC wildcard team, right? The Bills don't make sense to me because they're still too high for where they are in terms of seeding. So I don't believe in the Titans. So maybe we gear towards if the Colts get in, the Colts are at the same odds as the Bengals, which is kind of surprising to me. The Bengals might end up winning their division. I know we tend to speak these things into existence. Bengals could have home field here. I know they're kind of up and down, but their defense is relatively good. If Mixon can stay healthy, they run the ball. They have a good passing attack. I'm just saying, if we're looking in terms of value, I like the Bengals more than the Titans. I don't buy into the Ravens. They're too banged up. They were banged up coming into the year. Now you say they lose Marlon Humphreys. They were without Marcus Peters. I mean, they're just falling apart. So I don't like the Ravens. The Chargers, it's like super inconsistent. So I'm still looking at the Packers plus 750 is probably where I'm gearing towards. I don't believe in the Bills, so probably Packers plus 750, and then a deep AFC wildcard team. Probably the Bengals or the Colts here at 35-1. I mean, why not?
Yeah, well, I like where your head's at because I got a couple of things written down here when it comes to the Bengals. So for the Super Bowl, I don't think that they're legit Super Bowl contenders, but at 50-1 BetMGM, It's worth a sprinkle, right? A few bucks if you wanted to. But I do think that this is a good bet to win the AFC North at plus 275 over at FanDuel. Right? You just talked about them potentially winning this division. The Steelers are in shambles. I don't believe in Pittsburgh. No chance. And then also we just talked about this Ravens squad. So for the Bengals, I mean, the schedule is not fantastic. We'll just take a double peek at it here. So this week against San Fran is not easy. And then you got at Denver is not easy, Baltimore, KC, Cleveland. So it's not like this is an easy schedule for them, but they're just in a better spot, a better, they're healthy at least, where Baltimore is going through some stuff. And then they have that one game against the Ravens, which it will come down to that game for the division at week 16. At least they're on their own turf for that game. So 3 of their next 5 games are at home. Got to go to Denver. Got to go to Cleveland.
Meaney, where's Washington football team on that graphic? They're
not on it, bud. They're not on it. I don't know. Can we back them to win the Super Bowl? Well, probably not. But as we talked about yesterday,
I was going to say, based on George's logic, the Bucks and Tom Brady being on that graphic can't be good news for any Bucks backers, right? I mean, that's
right, George. What do you think about that? I mean, how can we go with the Bucks here when you got him on the graphic? Yeah, as we said yesterday, I forget the schedule. I got it written. There's just so many notepads. Oh, here it is. Here, boom, right in front of me. So Washington, Dallas, Philly, New York, and Philly goes Washington, Giants, Washington, Dallas. So it really is going to come down to, I think, those 2 games against each other to get in. But I don't think either team is legitimate enough to give anybody a go in the NFC. I think that Washington would have a better chance than Philly. George, Bucks second round exit. I just want to rapid fire here through a couple waiver wire stuff in case you need something this week. So there's a few teams on bye. You got Philly, Miami, Indy, and New England. Maybe you've been rolling out 2 in a super flex. Potentially you've been rolling out, Jalen Hurts. Maybe you were able to get in Gardner Minshew in place of him or Carson Wentz. I will say that Taysom Hill again. Do we have any news on Hill's status through it? According to Schefter, is that he's going to try to play through this injury. We're not picking him up and rolling him out in our starting lineups for his passing abilities because he threw 4 picks and still finished as a top 6 fantasy quarterback last week. He has the Jets this week, 34%. Teddy Bridgewater, I know it's been mostly lows than highs, but you could need a quarterback this week. His ownership is 23%. He's got a matchup against Detroit. Cam Newton was most likely dropped. His ownership is sitting at 29%. He's got a matchup against the Falcons. But I think out of all the guys that I've mentioned, this one is the guy for me. It's Taylor Heineke. His ownership is 38% against the Cowboys. So there's a couple quarterbacks that could help you out as well. We got a whole lot more over at FTN@fantasy.com. We'll take a break. I want to talk some NHL. I got some props, some picks, and then we'll round out Mean Streets here. Tina will join us again. We'll talk a little basketball, a little Nets and Mavericks action tonight. I want to hear from you guys. Who do you like in the Super Bowl? Who's your money on? Any starter to waiver wire questions, have them here on Mean Streets. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back here in a couple moments. Keep her locked. All right, welcome back in. Mean Streets continuing here on Game Plus Network. Going to turn our attention over to the NHL. There's 10 games on the ice. I broke down everything with the Eric Young, of course. You know him from the wrestling ring, and he gave us a really solid wrestling/hockey promo today. on a guy that needs to be in all of your DFS lineups to take him as shot prop and goal prop. And he really sold me. He got angry. He got mad, and he kind of scared me a little bit. That show is free. Check it out, ftnbets.com, right here on our YouTube page if you're watching, and also on iTunes and Spotify as well. So I got a couple with 10 games on the ice. I got some shot props, and I got some point props, as I said off the top. I think there's a real edge that we can attack if we're looking for a little bit more money, some plus money here. All right, let's start with the shot props. Tino, let's start here. And well, this is the assist point props. We'll do this. We'll start with this. So Stamkos for an assist. He's got 7 assists over his last 9 games. Got a matchup here against the Montreal Canadiens. I also like Andre Palat to get a point here. So for Palat, he's got points in 2 of his last 3 games. But this is just about the matchup with the Habs. This is the Canadiens here that have allowed the most shots at 5-5 per 60 minutes since November 1st. The third most shot attempts in the NHL at 5-5 per 60 minutes as well. This is a team that's just really struggling in all aspects. I mean, we know this. Heading into the season, we were on the under for the 90 points. This isn't the same team that went to the Stanley Cup Finals last year. And say what you want about the run, fluky, whatever, yada, yada. They came back and they earned that victory against the Leafs. They swept the Jets and they outplayed Vegas. So they deserved, maybe they didn't deserve to get into the playoffs, but they deserved to get to the finals. But this is a team that is just, they're depleted. They don't have a lot of the guys that they had last year. Tyler Toffoli is now out for weeks. Joel Edmondson hasn't played all year. He is out for weeks. Jeff Petrie is their best defenseman. He is sidelined as well. Over the last couple of days, Jake Allen has seen 45 shots, 33 shots, 42 shots, and 50 shots. He's seen a ton of rubber. The Habs lost 3 straight games, 5 of their past 6. I think this is an opportunity to get involved here with Tampa Bay. You got a Stamkos at plus 145 for an assist. Andre Palat plus 100 for a point. He's super cheap in DFS. I would target the Bolts here. And then Mikael Granlund at plus 115 for an assist. I mentioned this off the top of the show. He's got 21 assists, which is 3rd in the NHL, the 3rd most. He's got 6 helpers in his last 4 games. That top line with Mikael Granlund, Matt Duchene, and Phillip Forsberg has been one of the most underrated lines in the NHL. A decent spot here against the Detroit Red Wings. I don't think we'll see a lot of goals, but I have to take this plus money. And you know what? Matt Duchene is plus 185 for an assist as well. I tweeted that out the other day. We didn't get it, but this line has been so good that I like the entire trio from a DFS standpoint and taking them on shot props, which we'll get to in a little bit. But Granlund for a helper at plus 115. How about Kirill the Thrill dollar bill Kaprizov at plus 120 for an assist here tonight? This guy has an assist in 5 straight games, 7 assists over that span. He's got 12 assists in 8 of his past 9 games. So he has had an assist in 8 of his last 9 games. He's plus 120 tonight for an assist against the Edmonton Oilers, who rank inside the top 5 in shot attempts allowed and shots allowed at 5-5 per 60 minutes. Kaprizov is all over the ice from a power play standpoint. You know that he's going to get top ice time here tonight. And then Sony Milano, this is a different one. I love the curls. Sony is getting it done here. The Ducks, 5 games this week. They are a great streaming aspect they're a great streaming target from a fantasy hockey aspect. That's what I wanted to get out. How about this? Plus 240 seems like a big long shot. He does have 12 assists on the night. He had an assist last night. He's got 4 assists in his last 2 games. He played 22 minutes last night. I really like this Ducks top line against the Buffalo Sabres here tonight. Ricardo Raquel and Milano, as well as Trevor Zegras, who we hit last night. Zegras had 3 shots. Raquel had over 3 shots. And I like this top line. They're very cheap. A great spot against the Sabres here. Plus 240 for an assist. I'm telling you guys, there's some value here with some of these assist props. Tino, let's switch gears. Let's talk the shot props here. You have the NHL shot props on the board. Nope, we got picks. All right, we got picks. We'll transition over to the picks. We'll save the shot props for the next segment. So we got the Lightning. We just talked about Tampa Bay against the Canadiens here, a puck line, right? Andre Vasilevsky's been absolutely brilliant, and the Habs can't score goals. So Tampa here, they're probably going to win maybe 3-1, 4-1, couple empty net goals. I like the Calgary Flames on the money line against the San Jose Sharks. I like the Flames all the time. I'm a believer in the Flames. I like the Flames in the under. There's 2 teams I've been riding all year long, and the unders. It's Calgary in the under and the Rangers in the under. I do like the Rangers against the Hawks tonight, but with no Shesterkin, I'll probably shy away from the under there. But I do like Calgary on the money line. I like the Hurricanes on the money line against the the Winnipeg Jets here. That's pretty much even money. I just think that they're the better hockey team, and I think they had their coming out party in the last game. And then the under between Nashville and Detroit, under 5.5. So as much as I like that top line of the Predators, both goalies been playing really good. Saros has been playing great, and Nedeljkovic has been playing great as well. So I like the under in that game. And then this is me just being alone, maybe on an island. The Islanders on the money line. They've lost 11 straight hockey games. 11 straight games. Why the heck would I pick them? I think that they get their first W in a long time tonight. The Sens played last night against the Devils. We talked about them. They're not a great hockey team. I know the Islanders are going through something here tonight, but I do think that they bounce back and get their first win in a long time. A whole lot more over at ftnbets.com. We'll take a break, and we'll revisit the shot props in a little bit. Keep her locked. All right, welcome back in. A couple shot props here for you. Quick time before we bring in Tinos. Let's giddy up. Let's do it. So we talked about Stamkos already. For Stamkos, again, just a really good spot for Steven Stamkos here tonight against the Habs. It was just kind of, I picked on them. I don't know if we need to pick on them anymore, but he has cleared in 3 of his past 4 games. We can only pick on him too much here. It's so much, right? I mean, it's tough, man. It breaks my heart a little bit, but they're trash. Phillip Forsberg, over 2.5 shots, 15 in his last 3 games. He's cleared 2.5 in each of those games. 7 goals, 9 points, and 21 shots in 6 games since returning to the lineup. I also like Matt Duchene, but depending on where your book is, I mean, both of these guys are in decent spots, but minus 125 for Forsberg over at DraftKings, minus 120 for Matt Duchene over at DraftKings. How about Jonathan Huberdeau, minus 110 over at DraftKings? Pretty solid price for a guy who's had at least three shots in 11 straight hockey games. Teuvo Teravainen is plus money, plus 115 over at Caesars. 12 shots in his last 2 games, at least 3 shots in 4 of his past 5 games. His ice time has creeped up to where it was before he suffered a bunch of concussions last season. He had a rough go last year. A nice bounce back for him so far this season. He's back on that top line and playing a lot. And then Ricardo Raquel. I do like Zegras again, but Ricardo Raquel I think is a better price. A shop around for both of these guys. I think that they're both fine. But for Raquel, he's cleared 2.5 shots in 3 straight and 4 of his past 6 games, 14 shots on goal over his last 3 games, and he's played over 25 minutes in each of his last 2 games and 21 plus in 3 of his last 4. So he's getting a lot of ice time. As I mentioned in the last segment, I really like that top line here tonight. All right, one quick break. We'll bring Tino back in, and I'm sure we'll just talk about the Nets beating the Mavs. So that'll be fun. We'll talk about that next on Mean Streets. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back in one final time. Chris Meaney and Tino Rodriguez here. Soon we will have some NBA props. I know I've been saying it. NFL is going to die down here soon. It's really tough to give you guys NFL or NBA props like this early in the day with all the injuries and stuff like books. I just can't really find an edge. But we will visit it pretty soon. When NFL slows down, I think we'll see the NBA start to pick back up. Dude, you've been crushing it here on this show. You're 8-4 in the NBA since we started making picks. There's only 3 games here on the schedule this evening. An hour ago, the Brooklyn Nets were favored by 4. They're now favored by 2 against the Mavericks. It does look like Luka will play in this game. He practiced yesterday. He missed the game over the weekend. We have the Knicks and the Spurs, 2.5-point favorites in New York, and then the Celtics and the Lakers. So all pretty tight here. The Lakers are favored by 2.5 as well. What do you got here? Feeling on the road teams this evening, I feel like maybe?
Yeah, to sum it up, I told you right before we got on here, I'm feeling a little away team parlay here. Never would I parlay the Nets with the Knicks, but it looks like that's what I'm kind of leaning to here. I love the Nets more that this is down to 2 or 3 because 4 makes it a 2-possession game. I love that even more. Both teams terrible against the spread. The Nets actually very good on the road, though, 8-2 on the road. I think this is a get-back game for them. They typically only lose to like really good teams. They've lost to the Suns, lost to the Bulls twice. The Bucks beat them. So basically summing that up, Mavs not a very good team. I think we should win. Then we got
not wrong.
Yeah. Then we got the Knicks against the Spurs. The Spurs are rolling. It's very hard for me to take the Knicks at all. They are playing some of their worst basketball, but they are favorited on the road. I think that's for a reason. I like them to get back here. And then I think the hardest game to figure out here is going to be the Celtics versus the Lakers. This is anybody's game. Everybody on the Lakers roster is day-to-day. Jaylen Brown is also day-to-day. Last time these two teams played in Boston beat them by like 1,000. No, but like by 20, like 3 points, 25 points, whatever it was. Smoked them. And that was without LeBron, and it might have been without Jaylen Brown. So I think it kind of plays in. I feel like taking the Celtics plus the 2.5 here, just because they've beaten them recently. They seem like the better team right now. They're kind of finding their groove, and we're getting points in a game that should probably be close. So I'll just take all the away teams here, including the Celtics getting the points, and then the Nets to cover as well as the Knicks to cover.
Yeah, you're right. The Mavs aren't good, man. I mean, it's just Luka, and then guys like Kristaps chip in here and there, but he's inconsistent, and Hardaway as well, who's questionable in this game. How about this comment from George on the way out? Yeah, I was like losing it, trying to hold myself together. Where is Kyrie? He must have fallen off the side of the flat earth. Where's Kyrie? Where's Ben Simmons? I got Ben Simmons in a League of Leagues draft. I did in March of last season. I need this guy on my squad. I just need some assists, right?
Kyrie is saging everywhere. I need some of Kyrie's sage right now. There's a reason why the Nets keep losing to good teams, and it's because we don't have the third guy to make this team deeper. We don't really have a bench, but it's good to see like guys like Cam Thomas, rookies coming off the bench and playing well. Shout out to LaMarcus Aldridge. Guy came back out of retirement after having a heart condition, and without him, I think the Nets would be in big trouble. So watch out for him tonight in that game.
Ending on a high note, absolutely. Shout out to Aldridge as well, and to you, and to George, and to everybody hanging out here. Again, leave the questions if you have them. We'll circle back before a puck drop or a tip-off in the NBA. Any waiver wire stuff, we'll hit on that as well. Thanks for taking the time to hang out. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Cheers.